I still remember taking a public speaking course in the 80s. Yes, the 80s. And my professor walked in on the first day and she said, "Public speaking is the most important class you'll ever take in your life." I remember thinking, boy, that's a pretty strange thing to say. I still think it's kind of a strange thing to say. I would never tell you that public speaking is the most important class you'll ever take. But I can tell you that you will use the skills that you get from a public speaking class in every aspect of your life. I mean, there were so many classes I took in college where I didn't use any of the skills, but public speaking is not one of them. And I feel strangely smug about the fact that I'm teaching this class. I also know that I took public speaking in the 80s because it was required. And I get that probably most, if not all of you, are also taking this class because it's a requirement. But again, at least you'll use this. You might be wondering who the heck I am and what are my qualifications for teaching this course. Well, it's funny because my name's Joanne Babin. Well, that's not funny, but what's funny is maybe you've read a little bit about me on Rate My Professor, because I'm sure that's all just so profoundly accurate. But what's changed about me is my gosh, I started teaching in 1987 as a graduate student. And up until the spring of 2020, I had only taught in person. And I had really just started to use Canvas to just make an occasional announcement or to post an occasional handout. Well, now here it is, 2 years, a little over 2 years since the start of this pandemic. And now just rocking out so many different modalities, teaching in person again, which suddenly I forget how to do that, which is really weird. I'm teaching hybrid classes at University of San Francisco. I'm teaching completely asynchronous classes at Skyline College and at City College. So, and then of course remote classes too. All I know is that public speaking is such a great class where you'll learn how to trust yourself to speak from an outline rather than reading a speech or rather than memorizing a whole speech. Speaking from a keyword outline and trusting yourself is one of the great skills you'll learn. It's actually called extemporaneous speaking, and it allows you to speak in an organized fashion, but also have some spontaneity and be conversational. So over these next few months, we're going to go through and accomplish speeches with all the different goals: to inform, to persuade, to entertain. And one of the things I love about teaching public speaking, in fact, the thing I like about teaching public speaking more than any other class, is I just love hearing what students come up with to talk about. You'll get to pick your own topics to research for an informative speech, a persuasive speech, a speech to entertain. We'll talk a lot more about that later, but that's what makes this class really cool. You get to learn about so many different things. I mean, I still remember randomly someone did a speech to inform about spontaneous human combustion. But whatever the modality, here we are. In this case, it's online, and I will try to make my presence known in this virtual world. But it's getting a lot better. It won't be perfect, but it's getting a lot better. And that's all we can really ask for. So I look forward to working with you and just have an open mind. It's going to be fun.